Ayla Rahman had dreamed of the skies since she was 5 years old. While other children played with dolls and toy cars, she sat on the roof of her house watching fighter jets roar above the training fields near her town. By the time she was 18, she had already memorized the flight manuals of multiple aircraft, built perfect simulator scores, and outperformed every male candidate during academic testing. But when she applied for fighter pilot training, the board dismissed her with one cold sentence: "Women are better suited for support roles." Those words carved themselves into her memory like a scar. She saluted, walked out, and made herself a promise if they wouldn't let her fly for them, she would become so good that they would have no choice but to call her back. Instead of giving up, she joined the technical wing as an aviation engineer, absorbing everything she could about aircraft systems, weapons, and aerial combat strategies. And while she maintained engines and ran diagnostics, she secretly trained in old simulators late at night, teaching herself maneuvers most pilots found too risky to even attempt. 3 years later, war erupted near the northern border. A rogue enemy squadron of advanced jets crossed into Allied airspace, destroying communication towers, grounding supply lines, and overwhelming the first line of defense. The base scrambled every available pilot, but Ayla watched in horror as two jets were shot down within minutes. Her friends, her mentors. The runway shook with explosions as the enemy pushed deeper. In the chaos, Ayla sprinted into the hangar to help technicians rearm the next aircraft. But when she arrived, she found something worse. The base's top pilot lay unconscious, injured from a collapsing blast wall. His jet, an ultra-modern Falcon X interceptor, was still fully operational. No one else on the base was trained to fly it. The emergency commander shouted for volunteers, but everyone looked down. They knew the Falcon X was notorious for its sensitivity and speed, requiring months of specialized training. Ayla stepped forward. "I can fly her," she said. They laughed. Then she recited the entire control matrix and startup sequence from memory. Silence filled the hangar. The commander looked at her, then at the burning runway, then back at her. With trembling hands, he tossed her the helmet. "If you're lying," he growled, "we're all dead." Ayla strapped in, fired the engines, and roared into the sky. The moment the Falcon X cleared the runway, Ayla felt something she had waited her entire life to experience: a jet responding to her touch like an extension of her soul. Alarm screamed through her headset as radar identified for hostile aircraft heading directly toward the base. The enemy pilots laughed when they saw a lone jet coming to challenge them. Ayla switched to stealth mode, dropped altitude, and vanished behind a wall of clouds. The enemy formation split to triangulate her position. Confident they had cornered another inexperienced pilot, they had no idea what they were facing. In her long nights on the simulator, Ayla had mastered a band aerial maneuver, a near vertical spiral stall that most pilots believed impossible to recover from. She executed it flawlessly, appearing behind the last jet in the formation. One missile, one fireball, 3 enemies left. They panicked, breaking formation and diving into enemy territory. But Ayla chased them with precision even seasoned aces feared. She fired again, second jet down. The remaining 2 pilots worked together, trying to bait her into a trap. But Ayla had studied these tactics for years. She cut power, dropped behind a ridge, then shot up from below like a thunderbolt, catching the 3rd jet off guard. Third kill. The final enemy, realizing he was no match, attempted to flee across the border. Ayla locked onto him, but hesitated for a brief second. Shooting him down meant crossing into hostile airspace. But she knew, if he escaped, he'd return with reinforcements. She fired the last missile, 4th jet destroyed. The sky fell silent. When Ayla returned, the entire base ran toward the runway. Men who had once dismissed her now stared in disbelief. Her commander was speechless. Mechanics surrounded her like she was a myth come alive. News spread quickly: one untrained engineer had taken a Falcon X into battle and brought down 4 enemy jets in a single mission. No pilot in the country had ever done that. She was immediately taken to the operations room, where the high command interrogated her not with suspicion, but with awe. They wanted to know how she had flown maneuvers even their elite aces refused to attempt. Ayla simply answered, "I trained every night when no one believed I deserved a place in the cockpit." The very same officers who once denied her now asked her to join the Air Force's elite aerial strike division. They expected her to cry, to celebrate, to fall to her knees. But she simply smiled, a quiet, victorious smile that held years of rejection, determination, and hard work. "I accept," she said, "but this time, don't deny the next girl who walks through your door." The room froze. The commanders nodded silently, realizing she was right. Ayla's one mission changed the country's aviation history. Training policies were rewritten. Women were fast-tracked into fighter programs. For the first time, the Air Base created a specialized simulator curriculum inspired by her maneuvers. Ayla herself went on to complete formal training and eventually became the first female squadron leader of her unit. But despite all the medals and honors she received, she never bragged about the mission that made her a legend. When asked how she managed to keep calm while facing for enemy jets alone, she always gave the same answer: "I didn't fly to become a hero. I flew because someone had to protect the people on the ground." Her legacy spread to every academy and training base in the country. Students studied her tactics, pilots honored her call sign, Phoenix, a name given to her because she rose from rejection to reshape the skies. And although she never said it out loud, everyone knew the truth. If the board hadn't denied her fighter pilot training years earlier, she might never have become the legend who brought down 4 hostile jets in one mission and inspired thousands of young women to chase the sky to night fear. Ayla Rahman proved one thing: sometimes the world's strongest pilots are born from the world's biggest rejections. Like the video and subscribe to my channel Stories Sphere to see more videos like this and press the bell icon.